Okay, we're recording. Hello, everyone. I'm Daniel,
I'm Jesse.
and we're going to show you another thing that we made today. So, first, I'm just going to play you the thing, and then we'll talk about the thing, much as we did last time. So this will go on for about 3 minutes, if less, on its own. We won't let it play out, but just let it play for a little bit longer. Right, I think that's enough to give you an idea. Okay, so um, the grand question, of course, as always, is what the heck is happening here? And just to start to get an overview, I'm going to ask that question to Jesse. What is going on here?
So, well, we could talk about the code. I feel like the maybe more interesting thing is just like what the just more abstractly
Yeah.
the algorithm of what the code's doing.
Let's do that. Let's talk about like just a high level
Yeah,
abstract of what the code does.
yeah. So what we're doing is we're generating a melody of it's just a bunch of MIDI notes, and then we're playing it, and then the way that we're generating that pattern, the list of notes, is ooh, I'll go over here into this other buffer, and we can sort of do like a sort of fake example. Um, so so here's an example of some fake notes. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the MIDI note 60, and then from there we're going to pick an arbitrary amount um, to transpose up or down. So let's say we picked 3. We're going to go up by 3. So then the next note would be a 63. And from there, excuse me, from there, we do the same process again, but we apply it to both of the notes that we already have. So say we now picked -1, so we're going to go down by 1. That would give us 59 from here, and from here it would be a 62. And what I'm going to do is kind of space these out in a way that maps to time. So time is going left to right, and then this weird up and down structure is just visualizing the sort of the structure of which notes are
Yeah.
generated from which other notes. So if we do the process one more time, give me a random number.
Oh, let's say 7.
Okay, 7. So we're going to go up by 7. So we're just going to take each of the notes we already have and insert another note in between that's 7 more than the previous one. So 67. 66. Oops. 66. 70. And 69. Did I do this math right? Did I get anything wrong?
I think you did the math correctly. Okay, so just to recap, we started with one number, 60, and then we added 3 to get the second number, 63. Then we had 2 notes, 60 and 63, and then we subtracted 1 from each of those to get 59
Mhm.
to get 59 coming off of the 60, and then 62 going off of the 63. And then we took those 4 notes, 60, 59, 63, and 62, and we added 7 to each of those. So we got 67 from the 60, 66 from 59, 70 from 63, 69 from 62. And if we were to play these, they would play left to right, so it would go 60.
Yeah, actually, I should have just done it like this from the beginning. So this is more akin to what's happening. We've got our list of notes, starts with just a 60, then a 63, and then we just ultimately what's going on is we're just gonna insert stuff in between, and yeah, it goes left to right.
Okay.
So then we added the 59 and the 62. And then we went in between once again each of them, and we added our 67 plus 7 plus 7 and plus 7 gives us here 69.
So one thing that we discovered when we were kind of analyzing this before the making of the video, that's just kind of a neat artifact of creating a pattern this way, is that like for any way that you can divide up these numbers by 2, like let's say that I want to create pairs 60 and 67, 59 and 66, 63 and 70, and 62 and 69. All of those pairs are going to be similar to each other. Because we got the second number by doing something to the first number, and it was the same throughout. So we added 7. We added 7 to 60 to get 67. We added 7 to 59 to get 67. So these all have a difference of 7. You could also take, like if you chunked them by 4s, you would get essentially the same pattern. So let's take a look at that. So we go 60, right? We add 7 to get 67. All right, so we added 7, and then from 67 to 59, we're going down by 8, right? And then we're going back up by 7. So, okay, up 7, down 8, up 7 again. So for any, if we had 16 of these and we wanted to look at the first 8 numbers and the second 8 numbers, the pattern from the first 8 numbers would repeat in the second 8 numbers. And so there are just all of these kind of levels of patterns, and it makes a cool sound. So okay, that was my little tangent. Sorry to take you off of the rails for a second, but I thought I'd point that out. So okay, back to the pattern itself and the code. So if we come back here, let's start to talk about how this code achieves the creating that pattern.
Yeah, so the first thing we do is we have a range here of the possible amounts that we're going to jump by. So like from 60 to 63 is a jump of 3. We're just going to use that term jump. And each of these times when we did this, we were randomly choosing what that jump should be, but we didn't want to do just any number like 100. That would be too big of a jump. So first we're just establishing here the range of possible amounts we could jump by. So it's a range between -12 and 12. So and the most you could do is go down by an octave or up by an octave.
Right.
And then we're going to choose the actual jumps from within that range. So basically, we're going to choose them all at once. So like here, I was kind of doing it as we go, but in our code, what we're going to do is we're going to say, at first we just decide all the jump values. So it's like first they're going to be a 3, then we're going to do a -1, and then we're going to do a 7. And so that would be like jumps equals 3, 3, -1, 7. So that's what we end up with here. Is jumps equals this list, and then the list is consists of a bunch of randomly chosen values from this range. So we're just choosing one at random, choosing again, choosing again, choosing again.
And where does the randomness come in?
This choose function. You give it a list, and it will choose something randomly from the list.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have our jumps, and then
right.
so now.
So by the end of this, we have something equivalent to jumps equals 3, -1, 7, ... whatever. More. Right. This many things.
Gotcha.
From there, we have to turn this into an actual melody by applying this to starting with like the number 60 and then doing that process. And so that all happens in this line of code, which is it's very densely packed with some stuff, but so what we can do is sort of break this down into some smaller steps. So I'm going to take this. So I broke down a little bit here, but it's still pretty complicated. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just take it like one thing at a time. So you said that this number 60 basically establishes what the first note is going to be. So that's a C kind of in the middle range, so that if you go, -12 an octave, it's still in the audible range, and if you go +12, if you go up an octave, it's still going to be up in the audible range. So okay, so that's what this is. That correct? This inject function just establishes the first note somehow.
What the inject function does is it takes a list like this one, jumps. So this is actually a continuation of it's jumps.inject.
Okay.
Actually, I'm surprised I had it written like that. Normally it would be something.
That does.
I think
that does make more sense.
This is how it should be. So what inject does is it takes this list and builds something new by repeatedly doing an operation on each of these.
Got it.
And each time you take the thing that you had before and you as the input to produce the new thing. So
Okay.
a simple example of inject function would be you can use it to sum up all the numbers in the list. So like if instead of all of this crazy stuff we just did ac plus j, we would get, and if I commented this stuff out, which I don't know how to do on your computer, then we would get just the sum of all these numbers, because we're given this standard calls accumulation. This is the accumulated sum so far, and this is the next thing, and I'm gonna return this thing so far plus the new thing.
So ACK is like something that is kind of native to Ruby. It's not something we've defined.
No, it is. It's we can call this anything we want, but it's a common usage when you're doing inject to call it ACK, or I've seen it before and I use it.
Okay, I see. So we inject so ACK and J.
J is the next jump.
Okay.
So if we're looking at, say, this one, then we would be looking at like the positive 7, let's just say.
Right.
So what we're doing, instead of building up a sum, is we're building up a melody and a list of these notes. And what this does here to put this 60 is just saying, I want to start with 60.
Okay.
So actually going back to our previous, when we were just trying to sum up all the numbers, in that case I would put a 0 here to say starting with 0, now start doing the thing.
Okay.
So in this case we're starting with a melody that has one note, which is a 60, and then we're starting to apply this inject function, which accumulates this list, which is getting bigger and bigger as we go through. So each time we do it, it's for each jump in here, we're gonna add like one step of this. So like first we have our 60. Oops. The next time through, we're gonna have our 60 and our 63. The next time through, we're gonna have our 60, 63.
I see.
And 60, 59. I'll point with the cursor. These four, 60, 59, 63, 62. And then finally, by the end, we have all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
So the way that it's doing it is it takes... So suppose we have coming in, say we've got our first 4 notes so far, and so that means we're looking at this third jump. What we're going to do is we're going to... ACK sort of represents, in that case, the... I renamed this second half, but it doesn't actually make sense. I thought this would make it simpler to understand, but it's actually just confusing. So I'm going to put it back to the way it was.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're well, I should have given it a different name, but instead of just cramming it back in here, but this is what we do is we take. So say we've got these 4 coming in, and what we want to generate is the whole 8.
Right.
So what we do is we generate these 4 by mapping each of these to its partner or whatever. So it's like add 7, add 7, add 7, add 7.
Right.
So now we have the list of 4 that we started with and the list of 4 that we're going to add.
Right.
And then we do this zip function, which takes 2 lists and sort of interweaves them.
I see.
So
that we don't, so that it puts them in the correct order.
So it puts them in the correct order, right? So the ACK is the first, is the 4 we came in with, and then this right here gives us the new 4. It's mapping each one to the old thing, to the old value plus J.
I see.
And then we're taking all of that, those new 4, and we're zipping it with the old ones.
Okay. And then Flatten just creates a new list, sort of.
Flatten just deals with the fact that actually what zip does is it gives you a pair of a list of lists. So like if you have, say you have, if you're zipping together like A, B, C, D, I can't type. With
I see. I see what you mean by list of lists.
Or
you do like 1, 2, 3, 4, capital A, B.
Yeah, right. So if you got like 1, 2, 3, 4 dot zip this thing, what it's gonna give you is it's gonna pair them together. So you're gonna get 1A.
1A. Okay, and that's like a set or a list.
2B.
I get it.
Dot dot dot.
Okay.
But we want to just
and then
we just want to delete these extra brackets. We don't care about them.
And that's what Flatten does.
That's what Flatten does.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I feel like we have a pretty good sense of what. Can we go back to buffer 0? We have a pretty good sense of what this does. So 2 things that I wanted to do. If unless there's more about the code that we need to talk about. I wanted to show. So there's 3 things. Like one is what it looks like when there are more or less uh, jumps. And perhaps more interestingly, what happens when we speed it up, and kind of what your brain, like how your brain processes different sets of notes. Um, and what was the last thing? Um, there was one other thing. Oh, just choosing different seeds, because this use what so this I don't know if we talked about this up at the top, this use random seed. So how does that affect the program?
Well, so I mean, I think probably people okay, well, use random seed basically. Anytime we've got something in here that involves randomness,
Uh-huh.
which in our case is just here. There's no such thing as true randomness, quote unquote. It's all deterministic, but you can simulate for all intents and purposes. It's random, given the seed that you give the thing. I'm sort of mincing my words, but what Sonic Pi allows you to do is like you can sort of have your cake and eat it too, because you can have randomness, but if you like something, then you can remember what seed you used, and then it's deterministic based on that seed. So we're always going to get the same choices being made here based on the original seed.
But that won't. Well, now will that? So will that create? That won't create the same pattern though. It'll, like if we choose a different seed, it'll create a different pattern. Is that right?
Yes, that is right.
All right. So I guess I'm just gonna play. I'll play it with 234. Okay, so you kind of get a sense of the character of that. I just wanted to let people hear what it sounds like when we choose a different seed. So pick a number, any number.
42.
42. Everybody loves 42. It's the meaning of the universe. All right. So here's what random seed 42 sounds like. Different dance altogether. I'll pick 777. Jackpot. And I think that we had just kind of decided that 234 was a good one. Okay, was there anything about the more just about the code itself that that you think it would be helpful to talk about?
No.
Yeah, we pretty much covered everything. So the last thing, another thing that we played around with is so remember we talked about how if you divide the notes into pairs or into quarters, or basically just if you divide by any power of 2, you're going to get kind of what we've been calling a self-similar pattern. But your brain isn't going to hear every single one of those patterns. So you kind of, when we listen to music, a lot of it is in 4/4. So when I play this, I hear 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and I really key in on that 4/4. And so if we speed this up to say we did 600, we did 1200. Let's just go up. Let's double the BPMs. And I think one thing that we had to do, if you could help me with this, Jesse, actually, was we changed was it the release?
Yeah. Let's just hear that.
Okay.
We might not even need it.
Right.
So in this case, for me personally, I'm still hearing
4/4. I'm still hearing the same 4.
Right.
So if we okay, so we're changing the seed. I'm kind of hearing that in terms of 8s. So let's speed up. Let's go back to 234 and speed it up to 1200 BPMs. Or
Can
I'm
we,
sorry.
let's not do 230. I know it so well
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
gonna, you know.
Right.
But I don't know.
Okay.
There's something else. You want to do 1200?
Yeah, let's do 1200.
Now this we might need to.
Might want to
Yeah.
shorten it. So basically, what we're doing here is we're just shortening the length that the note plays so it doesn't get slurred.
To me, at 1200, it's just so fast that it's not even
Yeah, it's
really
like
comprehensible.
something. Yeah, this is very like Atari.
It just sounds
video
like
game.
some R2D2 type thing.
So let's split the difference and go 900. Interesting. So I'm gonna I am gonna go back to 234 just because we know it so well. That'll, if it does sound different, we'll know it sounds different.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna do 900 for 234. Yeah, I can still hear that same. Okay, you can kind of, you can get there's I feel like you can kind of perceive like a little bit of the larger pattern because it's but okay, so let's do 1200.
I guess it's kind of in 16s now for me.
It's just I still hear fours and I still hear the nested patterns that we heard before, but I think you can just
That's the thing. So that's eight loops. And each loop is one of those original fours.
yeah, it's interesting how you can kind of like the same stuff's unfolding as if we have this back at 300, I can kind of hear the same pattern. It just takes so much longer to unfold that it's such a different experience because it involves waiting.
It actually would be interesting to like literally repeat these jumps so that whatever say like you've got like 1, 6, and 7, and then to do 1, 6, and 7 again, and then speed it up by that much, you really literally would hear the same pattern. You know what I mean? Hold on, now I'm gonna try that real quick. 3. I'm just gonna make something.
Okay, so
Negative 7. Positive. Actually 0. Positive 2. And I'm just gonna repeat that. 3. Negative 7. 0. 2.
Okay, cool.
And okay, let's hear it.
Alright, sir.
Okay, something like that.
Okay.
And then we're gonna speed this up by like, I guess a lot. Well, what would it have to be? This whole thing takes. We'd have to really speed it up to actually have it sound exactly the same because we'd have to speed it up by like 16.
Oh,
Maybe.
right.
Hold on. I'm gonna make this smaller.
So what would that be? 4,800.
And I'm gonna make this. Yeah. So now we're
that.
only gonna have to speed it up by 8
Oh,
to
I
get the
gotcha.
same.
Okay.
So let's hear this.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And if I speed this up by 8, that would be what,
1600.
1600? I don't know. I don't even know if this is gonna work like I thought.
It's so.
I think it did.
Yeah,
vaguely.
I think I see. Yeah.
I think that was like the first 4 notes of the original thing.
Interesting. bubbles.
Let me do this again. No, I have no idea. Anyway.
Okay. Well, in any case, we've come to the end. At least we were shooting for, our last video was 38 minutes, and here we are at 30 minutes and about 15 seconds. So we're making progress. If we can end this, if we can wrap this up in the next 8 minutes, we're making progress in terms of just, being less long-winded. But I mean, is there anything that you would like to talk about for like 7 minutes or so, or should we just wrap it up? Okay. Anyways, again, if you've watched the whole thing, thanks so much, and we really hope that you've learned something or gotten something or just had a chance to just veg out and to the sounds of our voices, silky smooth. Anyways, is there anything else? Okay, so that's it. Yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.